In today's video, I am going to be showing you 3 of the best ways to use up and or preserve zucchini. I don't know about you, but we are overflowing with zucchini still here. Even though we're headed into fall, there's still plenty to be harvested and used. And so I'm going to walk you through how to do that in 3 different ways in this video tutorial. Just need zucchini. I'm popping out to the garden here to gather up some onions for one of the recipes, well, 2 of the recipes actually that we are going to be making. We need some fresh onions. We also need some garlic. Now this garlic has been pulled and is drying in our woodshed, so I pop out whenever I need some, bring it in. And then before I actually start cooking, I'm also going to gather some oregano for a sauce we are going to make. Here's some tomatoes, actually a friend gave me. I've got my zucchinis ready to go. We have our beautiful fresh red onions and our garlic. So our very first recipe, we are going to make a tomato zucchini sauce. A lot of people don't realize it, but zucchini is so tasty in tomato sauce. It's a really great way to cover it up and hide zucchini in something. So we'll chop open some of these tomatoes and squeeze them to release some of the juices. We will add onion. I'm adding 1 onion to this batch here, and because it's going to be cooked down and pureed later, you actually don't have to finely mince your onion. You can roughly chop it, throw it in, and it will cook down and blend up beautifully later on after everything has softened. So with onions and onions in there, we're going to tackle the garlic. This sauce is really simple. It's just onions, garlic, tomatoes, and zucchini, and then of course salt and some spices. So we let it cook down. We simmer it without the zucchini just to break down the tomatoes and make sure the onions are really well cooked. And then we'll grate up a whole bunch of zucchini and plop it in. And I never measure for this. I just grate up a bunch, throw it in, and then we will cook that down as well. It takes anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes usually for that zucchini to really soften. So I'm going to let it simmer, and I am going to preserve some of the zucchini I brought in as well. And I really like freezing zucchini. So if you have giant ones especially that have really pithy soft centers, you can just scoop that out, throw it in your compost, feed it to your pigs or your chickens, and you have just good solid flesh left. You can grate that up and freeze it for using in baking during the winter or for adding to pasta sauce and things like that. So usually I will use mine to bake what I call my garden muffins, or I might do a zucchini bread. I really enjoy having it on hand, and this is pretty much the only way I will preserve zucchini. Sometimes I do make a pickled turmeric, honey and turmeric zucchini that I will preserve in the water bath canner, but I find I primarily use it in frozen form. You can quickly add it to soups as well. It's just very versatile this way, and you don't have to pre-cook it or blanch it or anything. It's just raw zucchini that goes straight into the freezer, and it will easily keep a year if you seal it up well. I'm going to bring these out and make my way through the mess that baby girl left on the kitchen floor. I'm going to lay them out flat in the freezer and let them freeze solid there, and I will stack them properly later. Baby girl destroys the kitchen while I work, and so I often just let her go while I'm working. Here I am cleaning up because I need some space on my kitchen counters for my next recipe. All the little things you don't see from behind the scenes. Kitchen cleaned up a bit, we are going to go feed some of the zucchini insides to our pigs to empty out the slop bucket. We are raising 2 pigs for meat this year. Baby girl loves them. She loves going out there, and they love any of the scraps that we bring them. And while I was out there, while the tomato sauce was simmering on the stove, I actually realized they were quite warm. We live on a very dry, fast draining piece of land, and so I just realized I needed to haul them some water for rolling in to cool them down. Now, they do have a lot of shade in this pen, but it was kind of one of those things. I knew the tomato sauce would be okay, and they really needed something. So you can see it's quite dusty in their pen. So 2 5-gallon pails of water are exactly what they wanted. As soon as I poured it out, they flopped down in it, and they were quite happy. Back in the kitchen, I'm grating up a tender little zucchini and then also separating some eggs. I am making some zucchini fritters. Some folks don't separate the egg whites from the yolk when they make fritters, but I do. I like to use just the egg yolk. I will add a little bit of salt. We'll put in some onion for flavor. And some people also like to put in sweet pepper. But here I'm just doing grated zucchini, egg, and onion. This is a really fast and tasty lunch. You spread out this mixture in your frying pan into little patties. And then once they have cooked for a couple minutes on one side, you can flip them. They'll cook on the other side. It makes a very nutritious and very tasty, quick food. There you can see up close. The yolk really helps hold them together, and I like to eat them with a plate of veggies, actually. So here we have egg and zucchini fritters with some fresh cucumbers from the garden and tomatoes. So yummy and so tasty. After lunch, I got back to the tomato sauce. You can see the zucchini has cooked down quite a bit. It's kind of translucent looking, and that means we are ready to run it through a kitchen blender. I always let it cool a bit before I do this, just because if something goes wrong, you don't want it to be so hot that it burns you. But we just pulse it in the blender a few times, and then we let it run on high speed, and it will puree everything from the tomatoes to the tomato peels, the onions, the zucchini, the garlic, and you have a really nice smooth sauce that you can then cook down. After I've pureed everything, I put it back into the original pot, and we will let that simmer for a while longer. Little bit of fresh oregano never hurts. This is where I like to flavor it up. We put in fresh oregano. I also put in broth. This is some chicken broth. It changes the intensity of the tomato flavor. I really like having some broth, paprika, tiny bit of curry, and some turmeric. And this is ready to sit and cook down. For supper, I am going to make some pasta and sausage to go with our tomato sauce as it cooks. So here I am rolling out some egg dough, or rather egg noodle recipe, trying to get that dough really nice and thick. And then I do not have a pasta cutter, so I just use a knife on the table and chop up. They're pretty thick noodles, but they're really tasty. We always chop them up and then toss them with a little bit of flour so they don't stick together too much. And when we're done, we'll have a nice little pile here that's coated in flour so it stays in individual strands. And then with the pot boiling on the stove, we'll drop everything in and we'll cook these for a couple minutes. The important thing is with homemade noodles is to not overcook them. I always put a little bit of olive oil in to keep them from sticking. And then when they are done, I will cool them under the cold kitchen sink, under the tap water. You can see them here. These are really tasty, really hearty and filling noodles. We've got some sausages almost ready to go. One little flip and we will start dishing up for supper. Spooning some tomato sauce over the noodles. Add a little sausage and supper is served.